Gender stereotypes, scholars believe, are inadequate beliefs or expectations about the roles, characteristics, and behaviors of individuals based on gender. There are several consequences of these beliefs. They limit opportunities and choices, promote inequality and discrimination, reinforce harmful behaviors, and affect mental health as well as self-esteem. On this segment, we will assess impacts and suggest solutions to eliminating these beliefs. And my guest, Olajumoke Adeniyi, our gender advocate and head of operations at SAM Foundation, will speak to us. Olajumoke, thank you so much for joining us on Insights.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. It's really my pleasure to be here today.
Thank you so much. Before we limit it to gender issues, how do you perceive stereotyping? Let's begin from there.
Well, stereotyping is just like the word, having a biased or one-way mindset. Where I come from, we say everyone sleeps and we all put our heads on one spot, believing that there is just one side to the coin, instead of embracing the different opportunities and the multifaceted aspect of life.
How come this has a serious toll on women, especially?
Now, in most countries of the world, from the history of the women coming into force, we've always known men to be in the force until later, after the World War II. Then women started coming into the workforce, and there was a bit of resistance. And this resistance has been gradually being broken down a bit, and we still see it. Normally, in most people's culture, the woman is expected to be the one, starting from the family, which is the bedrock of every country. The woman is supposed to be, she has this cultural expectations from her. And so this has transcended into the workplace, into the schools, into every facet of life. Not just the low level, every level of the community, especially here in Africa, it's much more pronounced. Although we've seen a lot of interventions, we've seen people trying to ensure that these stereotypes are being changed. We live in a patriarchal society, and sometimes the society has come to have this defense. When you see a woman walk into the room, there is this aspect. Some men have not even been trained to not see her as an object, but see her for who she is and what she has to offer. So we see this in different spheres of life. Although we've started doing a lot of advocacy, we ensure that every woman has a safe space. Every woman is healthy. And what is health? Health is the total well-being, physical, mental, emotional well-being of an individual, not just an absence of disease. And so we ensure and we advocate strongly to ensure that we have an environment that is not gender stereotyped, not just an environment where we have people seeing a woman because she's a woman, no, but addressing her because of what she has to offer and the positive impact that she can make in the society. Additionally, one of our leaders mentioned it actually. You know, he's one of the E4 that I can't remember his name, in one of the State House of Assembly. He said that most of you men that are seated here, most of the things that you wore today was determined by your wife. If you dressed up completely from your head to toe, and your wife tells you that you're looking awkward, you will go back in regardless of your office. You go and change. And that's because when you give the woman the power, she has the opportunity, she has the influence, she has that grace. It's just a natural thing that's given by the Creator to each and every one of the woman. Because the woman makes a home, you give her a seed, you know, she turns it to a child. You give her money, she gives you a good pot of soup. So there is really nothing to be defensive about or to stay stereotyped about. Instead, rather, to embrace and accept that complementary gift that has been given to us by our Creator.
What are the factors that influence stereotyping?
Now, some of the factors that affect gender stereotyping. Number one, the traditional gender roles. It has been there since as old as man itself. So we have this thing ingrained into the traditional society and the education. We grew up in a society where our ancestors believed that it was much more better for you to educate a male child than for you to educate a female child. Because why? You think she's going to grow old, go to her husband's house, and then forget about your name, and then that's the end. But that's not true. We have even employment opportunities. Some people, there are some roles that you're not even going to see a woman naturally just come into. But now, thank God, the narratives have been changing. We wouldn't see a woman being a cameraman before, but now it's been changed. We wouldn't see a woman say, oh, I want to be an astronaut. It's just because of the traditional cultural norms and what has been for a while. So it's change might, of course, encounter resistance, but eventually change has its own advantage, and eventually it's going to be for the good of everyone. Take, for example, one of the advantages of having a female in leadership position. We were talking about gender and sexual-based violence, and we discovered, according to research, that 1 in every 3 lady, every 3 girl, every 3 woman will be harassed. We found out that research has shown us that where you have women leading an organization, these roles, these incidences and occurrences tend to reduce drastically. Because why? They know it's a woman there, and she's going to make sure that she puts things straight and put things in order.
How can a woman have a space that is peaceful and safe at the same time?
Now this begins at, number 1, the family. We can never remove the family from the center of the discussion, because at the heart of every nation, the family is the core of every nation. When the family is stable, then we end up having, when the family is stable, we have lesser crime rates, we have more productivity when people learn what they're supposed to learn at home. So from the family, we as parents should encourage our male children to take up roles. We don't just say, oh, it's time to cook, tell your sister to go and cook. No, everybody should get up and go to the kitchen and do what they're supposed to do. Number 2, the men should make a support. When you're a man, you should be careful of things you post on social media. Social media is now like one of the spaces where it's like a market, a village square that we used to have in the olden days. On social media, you don't post things that promote women as objects. On social media, when you see a campaign against gender stereotyping, you promote it, share it, let people know what you stand for. When you see somebody treating a woman and saying, oh, this is, even from a little girl, when a little girl, you're asking your little girl, don't tell her, would you like to be a nurse? Start by asking her, do you want to be an astronaut? Or do you want to be a surgeon? Start from don't negotiate with them from the least. Tell them what they would like to be. Let them know that there is nothing they cannot be, that as long as they make up their mind to be anything, they can be whatever they want to be, and they can be whoever they want to be. Let them see the advantage in themselves, rather than seeing themselves as a weak or a disadvantaged population. No. Change that mindset. Speak to every child, every girl you come in contact. Let them know that you are for them, and let them know that you are with them no matter what challenge they face. If we start this in the family, it goes on to the community. It goes on to the community leaders. It graduates to the different roles and the leadership roles in the offices, the schools. The schools should ensure that there are mentorship platforms. They should not shy away from these topics. We should not have lecturers or male lecturers in universities threatening girls. And thankfully, we have one of these advocacy. I happen to be a mentor of the United Nations Population Fund at the Lagos State University before I came to Abuja. And we have this mentorship platform fully supported with the partnership of the state government to ensure that students had mentors. The students came out, they shared their stories. They talked about, at some point, we even got lecturers, people who were assaulting students. Because we had this committee funded, they were apprehended, they were expelled from the university, they were relieved of their duties instantly. And we discovered a reduction in these situations. So when we have voices, when we have constitutions, we have communities, or we have people that speak against sexual gender-based violence as well as gender stereotyping, we are assured to have a community that supports it, that stands for it, right from the male bike rider up to the male highest leader. Everyone is an advocate against gender stereotyping.
What can be done to stop stereotyping?
Okay, it's an human instinct. When you walk into a room, when you're accepted, you see the look on the person's face. It is normal. It is a natural instinct, and it's not hard to disregard, or it's not hard to decipher. When you're being told, or you see that you have the same qualifications with somebody, and then the both of you have the same qualification, you're applying for something, and probably that person who's not better than you, or who doesn't seem better than you, happens to be the one getting the opportunity, and though they are saying, oh, you're hearing comments like, oh, they are just women, that's how women do. When you start hearing comments like that's how women do, that's an example of stereotype. How many of you fathers or men watching this TV are raising up your daughters to become just somebody you're spending so much on her? We know how much school fees cost here. And you think, are you planning that she's going to end up all that school fees and just sit down in one corner and just end up in the kitchen? No. You want to be proud and say, oh, that's my daughter. And, oh, look at her. That's my daughter. She's making me proud. That's what we want to see in the society. So it starts by making sure you yourself, you are a positive advocate. You speak, you start from yourself. You move on to your circle of friends. You correct them when they say things like that. You stand up when you see somebody trying to make comments like, oh, that's how women do. You tell them, no, you can't afford to talk to a woman like that just because she's a woman. In fact, that is the reason why you should give her the opportunity. After all, you were birthed by a woman. And so you should also respect them and regard them, because I know men don't joke with their mothers. I know that. And that's because mothers are very caring, and God bless their hearts. And secondly, how can we stop this in the society? We can go for campaigns. When you hear about campaigns going on, when they're talking about, oh, stop gender-based violence, when they're talking about stop gender stereotyping, you should share it on your status. Let them know there is more to a woman. We have women now taking the forefront in leadership. We have people, leaders, who are now women, making changes in their different communities. I tell people, the Vice Chancellor of Lagos State, of the University of Lagos, she's a woman. The Vice Chancellor of Lagos State University, she's a woman. These are people making changes. We have seen different women, even in our Senate, at our seats. The First Lady of this country, of course, is a woman. We've seen initiatives. Women that have made changes from time immemorial. And they still keep making changes. Let that be your own standard when you look at the woman. Look at what she can offer. Looking at the women that have gone ahead of her, who have been successful, who have added value to the society. Don't look at her from the negative part of what some women have not been able to successfully portray the womanhood in the dignity that she is known for. After all, it takes a woman to bring you up to this point where you are. It took a woman. And then look at the positive value that woman has. And that is what you should use to relate with every other woman. Don't just look at them as, oh, she's just there, she's just an object, or she's just there. That's how they behave, that's how their mindset is. No, look at the positivity, because there is nobody that our maker created to be bad. No, there is a good in everyone as well as a good in every woman.
Interesting. For every man or woman out there that has suffered this, how do we build the confidence of that individual?
Thank you very much. It is never too late for you to build your confidence. It is never too late for you to start afresh. No matter what age, how long you think that this mindset has been going on, it is never too late to start afresh again. So we start first with that mindset. It is never too late. Secondly, begin to make conscious efforts to catch yourself if you happen to do this wrong and correct yourself. In fact, go out each day expecting yourself to be an anti-gender stereotype person or an advocate against gender stereotype. If you believe that this is who you are in your mindset, trust me, you will become it, because everything starts from a mind. The saying says that as someone thinks in his heart, so he is. So if you think about it and you believe that you are a good person, you see women, or you as a woman, you see yourself as an addition to the society rather than to be a victim of circumstances, that is who you're going to portray yourself to be. If you see yourself as if you're going to be able to achieve anything that you want to achieve, any height of education you want to get, because the power is in education, the power is in you getting knowledge. As the saying goes, knowledge is power. Get your knowledge, and what do you do with that knowledge? Do you make use of it? Do you use it to help other people? Or are you even, there are some women that are actually even against other women, but are you using your own knowledge to bring up other women, to bring up and go again, making positive change into the society? If each one can reach one, then we can make our community a safe space for each and every one of us and have the perfect utopia that we've always dreamed of. We need to see that we were all made to balance each other. So where the man is getting it, steaming it up, the women are there to bring it down. And there is a balance where everyone is allowed to play their role. Everything is in a proper state of equilibrium where we can get to that perfect utopia that we want. Thank you.
Olajumoke Adeniyi, a general advocate and head of operations, Hassam Foundation. We want to thank you so much for joining us on Insight, and thank you so much for your thoughts. Thank you very much.
It's always been my pleasure. Thank you very much for this time, and I really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much.